A night that didn't feel real. The rain had just stopped, and the city smelled like wet asphalt and autumn leaves. Mara walked slowly down the cobbled street, her shoes making soft clicks that echoed against empty shop windows. She could feel the damp air brushing against her face, like tiny invisible fingers trying to tell her something she couldn't quite understand. Everything looked ordinary, but it didn't feel ordinary. The streetlights were flickering in a strange rhythm, as if the city itself was breathing. Mara had left her small flat earlier, not knowing why, just that she needed to move. She passed a bakery where the smell of fresh bread and cinnamon made her stomach twist with memories she didn't remember. She imagined herself as a child, standing in a warm kitchen, sunlight painting golden streaks on the wooden table, her grandmother humming quietly. Then the image slipped away, leaving only the scent behind. She realized she could almost feel the memory, even if it wasn't really hers. Further down the street, a stray cat appeared, its fur soaked, eyes like tiny green lanterns. It didn't run when she knelt down. Mara offered her hand, and for a moment it brushed against her fingers like it was acknowledging something old and familiar. She laughed softly, a sound that surprised her. It had been a long time since she laughed just for herself.
The city was quiet, too quiet. No cars, no footsteps, just the soft drip of water from the roofs above. Yet she felt a presence, like someone had been walking behind her all along, but when she turned, there was nothing. Not even a shadow. She kept walking, curious and slightly afraid, but drawn forward by something she could not name.
She reached a bridge over a narrow canal, the water reflecting the sky in patches of purple and orange, as if the sun had decided to stay a little longer. Mara leaned against the railing and stared at the water. She could hear her heartbeat, loud and slow, as if the city had borrowed it and stretched it into the rhythm of the evening. Something moved beneath the surface, a shimmer like silver threads, twisting and turning. She couldn't tell if it was a fish or just the reflection of the clouds, but it felt important. A man appeared on the bridge from the opposite side. His coat was dark, almost black, and his hair stuck out in every direction, as if he had been through a storm, or perhaps he had been waiting in one. He looked at Mara, but not in the ordinary way. His eyes seemed to carry small pieces of sky and storm and quiet afternoons all at once. She wanted to say hello, but the words felt too heavy, too ordinary. Instead, she nodded, and he nodded back. Something in that simple exchange felt like a secret. Mara continued walking. Every corner she turned, the city changed slightly, almost as if it were alive and aware of her movements. A lamp-post bent like it was bowing. A puddle shimmered with colors that didn't exist, and distant laughter echoed, soft and melodic, though she could see no one. She wasn't scared. She was mesmerized. In a small park, a bench waited, as if expecting her. She sat down. The wind carried whispers through the branches of bare trees, voices she almost recognized but couldn't place. Each whisper felt like a memory trying to escape from her mind. A leaf fell on her lap, and she watched it twirl, slowly, like time itself had forgotten how to move straight. Then she saw her, a woman sitting on another bench, scribbling in a notebook, her hair falling over her face. Mara felt an instant connection, though she didn't know why. The woman looked up, and their eyes met. For a moment, everything was still. The city, the rain, the strange rhythm of the streetlights, they all paused. Mara felt the world stretch and bend around that single gaze. The woman smiled faintly, and Mara realized she had been holding her breath. She laughed quietly, shaking her head, and the city breathed again. The woman stood and walked toward her. The space between them felt longer than it was, filled with unspoken words and feelings Mara could not yet name. When they finally spoke, their voices were soft, almost swallowed by the evening air, but every word was clear. "I think the city likes to watch us sometimes," the woman said. "I've felt it for years." Mara nodded. "I thought it was only me." They talked for hours, though no one else was around. Time seemed different here. Minutes stretched into something that felt like centuries, yet fleeting like the blink of an eye. They shared pieces of themselves they hadn't told anyone, their fears, their small joys, the invisible scars of old memories. Mara felt the strangeness of the world blend with the intimacy of their voices. When the streetlights flickered once more, they realized the park was empty, the benches cold. The woman smiled, handed Mara the notebook, and said nothing. Mara opened it, and her own words were inside, words she didn't remember writing, but somehow belonged to her. She understood then that the city hadn't just watched her, it had guided her. Mara walked back home slowly, feeling the pulse of the city beneath her feet. Every puddle reflected not just light, but the countless moments that had led her here. The rain returned softly, kissing her cheeks, and she realized that some evenings weren't meant to end, they were meant to unfold, like a story written on water.